with that, I think we're back. Oh, man, jeez. Well, I don't know what's going on with my audio, but it's still being kind of weird on my end. But at least, as long as y'all can hear me, I guess that's the point that matters. I can deal with everything else. I apologize about that, guys. But thank you, Fokker. I was trying to say thank you before all the audio freaked out. We are going to be right back where we started, so give me a second. Again, I profusely apologize to everybody involved here. Because that's not good. That's not good at all. But yeah, my audio sounds a little bit weird on my end, and it's messing with me a little bit. So once again, I apologize for that. I don't know why it's messing with me or what's going on or why it changed. I literally have not done anything or touched anything, and I haven't had any updates. So I am very confused. It could also just be that my headset is dying. My headset is dying. It's very possible. Who knows? Don't know. Wow, come on. Really? Game? Man, we are just having a good Friday night, aren't we? Let's try this again. Jeez. Lord have mercy. If this is what the night has in store for us, it's going to be a fun night tonight. Y'all hear me now? Hopefully y'all can hear me, right? Oh boy. Let's make sure. Yes. I know my audio is finally going through. I know it for a fact. Okay. Alright. Let's back where we started. So I hope everybody is having a good time right now. I'll give everybody a minute to kind of wander their way back in. Let me actually resend the stream out since my audio is being weird, and this is completely my fault, and I sincerely apologize to everybody involved. I do not know what's going on with it. It's still kind of wonky and weird on my end, but again, as long as y'all have it on your end, that's the important part, and I know that y'all can hear me, so. Okay. All right. Once again, I am very sorry about that. So we will get started again. And let's see where we left off. We have friends on their way to meet us. And so I moved an army down to Caesarea. Now, let's see. You guys, very good. Reducing my corruption. Ooh, we got paganism spreading around. I don't like that too much. But that's okay. That's okay. We will fix that in due time. We shall. So, now, let's see. We have desolated everything around us. I say we have. The enemy have desolated everything around them. And I want to say we've destroyed... Did we destroy the Civil War? No, we're still in an active state of Civil War. So where are my remaining... There they are. Y'all are all by your lonesome. You have nowhere to go and no one to call friend. Y'all gotta go. And y'all have nobody. Okay, y'all gotta go. Alright, let's see here. Right, I need to repair stuff. Repair that. Repair that. Repair that. So how's everybody's evening going? Hopefully everything is well. Oh, hello. We need to... Oh, you are a governor, so definitely reducing that corruption down. We have a spy. Cavalry. There we go there. Definitely spread that. We're going to spread that religion around. And we want integrity and foreign territory for this one. But yeah, not a great start to a Friday night, guys. That was It's a pretty rough start. Hopefully we can get back on track. Join war against Illyria. Why would I want to fight Illyria? For 1,000? No, I don't want that. I'm not interested in war. At least not right now. I've got enough wars on my plate. I need to retake England. The one place the Huns can't get me. On an island in the north. I really need to take out Tamusiga as well. Just because I know they're going to be a problem. Ooh, it looks like they're going north. The Visigoths have finally been destroyed. And we have somebody who's got some not so great loyalty stuff going on. Let's see, where are you, sir?
We hunger for battle.
Okay, you've just been given. What are these guys? The Bastarnians. I'm not familiar with them. What was it doing? Right, Bastarnians. What are you, Bastarnians? So you have at least one or two different things. But raiding in my territories is not exactly what I'd call a healthy thing to do, but I'm not going to be able to do much about it right this moment. Now, go get them, boys. Go get them! Some of us are going to get killed in Italy is more like it. Anyway, I know that people are kind of wandering their way back in here. I'm sorry about having to start that over. I really am sorry. I don't like starting and stopping stuff. I don't know what was going on with my audio. It's actually still happening on my end, but I know it's not happening on y'all's, and that's the important part for me. I thought it was happening on y'all's end too, but I guess not. For some reason, I'm only getting audio in like one channel essentially. So again, I've shown it up on my iPad actually, just to make sure that it's not happening on y'all's end. It doesn't sound like it, but if the audio sounds funky, I'm really sorry. It literally was not doing that earlier today when I was just kind of playing in another game. I have no idea why it's just started doing this, and I don't know like what to do about it. So it's either stop the stream. Hey, thank you, Fokker. Thank you very much for your 6-month subscription. I greatly appreciate it. I'm sorry that I had a bad audio issue. It's I was just explaining. It's still on my end. I don't know why it's happening. It's kind of weird. It just started and it has not been doing that. It didn't even happen last night, and I have touched no settings. I have no idea what's going on. So, I'm hoping that I will be able to get that fixed by tomorrow, but I have no idea what's going on with it. So, okay, let's keep going. Well, I had to have changed something. I just don't know what that something is. I do use Streamlabs. I've actually had fewer issues than I have whenever I was using OBS. That being said, I'm sure, I know that OBS is pretty good. When I very, very first started, it wasn't a bad idea. I got nothing against OBS. I'm just surprised all of a sudden my settings changed. And the reason I went to Streamlabs is for the exact same reason that this has happened. Like, some weirdo event happened and that was it. Like, all of a sudden, when I was streaming, I started getting weirdo audio issues, and that's not acceptable. Oh man. But it might honestly just be my hardware on my side. I just genuinely don't know. I'm not going to spend that much time trying to dig into it. Let's see if I can manipulate you.
They will soon forget their allegiance.
Well, I haven't touched mine in a very long time. It's been a very, very long time for me. The fact that it's requiring it now is very much out of the ordinary. And so, when it started happening, I was like, oh, what's that? What's going on here? So I genuinely don't know why it's happening. And that is a new feature. But I'll get it fixed. It may be something as simple as that. Just one of my headset is going out or something like that. I just thought it was not reading me properly, but whatever. It'll mess with me, but it'll be fine. I will get past it, or I won't, one of the two. Either way it goes, it'll be fine. Maybe this is Twitch's way of saying, well, we're going to mess with you in some way. We have to. Who knows? But I do want to say thank you to everybody who has been following me. Y'all have been a great help. I would never have expected to get enough people to actually become one of the affiliate peoples, let alone actually get accepted to that. That was weird. I know people that have been streaming a lot longer than me who are, in my opinion, they should very much be already affiliates, and they haven't gotten there yet, and they've got more people that watch them than I do. I have no idea how I've bungled my way into this. So I just want to say I thank you very much, all of you, for sticking up with me and putting up with me and watching the things that I do. Let's see here. Now, we need to worry about Greco-Roman paganism. We need to find a way to cut down on the paganism. Let's see here. So we need more paganism. Come here. Thank you, Kiro. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. Hey, thank you, Grim, for subscribing. Thank you. Wow, that's... Man, y'all are being way too generous, man. Oh, man. I'm just going to put that towards the buying enough wood for my chicken coop fund. That's all I'm going to do that for. It's going to stay in... It's going to stay in Twitch script until I get enough to where I can actually just pay somebody in Twitch money. What the hell was that? Okay, I'm going to assume nothing bad has happened right outside my office. I'm going to assume that and pray that that's exactly what it is. Nothing bad's happening. Okay. Oh, dang it. Oh, whatever. Fine. It's fine. So, good evening, Grim. Thank you very much for subscribing. I just wanted to say donating, but we're not donating. Let's see here. I'm kind of at a point where all my enemies are in the north, but I really don't want to just start... Hold on, is the Civil War... Civil War's over! The Civil War's over! Finally! Guys! This has been going on since, like, turn 4. The Civil War is finally over on turn... How do I see what turn I'm on? Is it over here? 112! Oh, jeez. That's not something to be proud of. No, Salona, I'm going to leave you alone. I need to put that somewhere else. This is Trade Jetties. That's in Ravenna. Man. And so one of the things I may end up looking at doing is I do know some graphic artists, and Ham was telling me that I need to get some emotes made up. And I was like, you know what? I might know some people that can help me out with that. I might be trying to find an actual logo soon enough, especially if I'm going to actually be offering subscription stuff like that. I guess Twitch offers it. They just facilitate it and offer it. I don't know. We'll see. In the meantime, I have a funny story to tell today. It's a very cute and adorable story. One that is fun for the entire family. Unlike some of my other stories, which may or may not be approved by families for their children. This one's actually Civil War. Civil War is the Roman way up until the Romans win. The Gaetulians. You actually haven't taken any land from me. I will accept this, but can I make you a puppet and get rid of that? No, I want a puppet. Not quite. This is a story of one of my neighbor's kids. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I genuinely really wasn't. So here's the thing. So whenever I first got into Twitch, I was telling Ham and a few others, like, there's probably no way it's going anywhere, but I do it for fun. You know, it's all it is. It's just for fun. Oh, hello. Okay, well, let's fight it out. And I mean, if it goes somewhere, great. If it doesn't, great. I don't really care. But the fact that it's actually grown as quickly as it has, and the fact that we were talking about it for like a little bit, talking about like, okay, I'm not that far away from affiliate, and it's like, oh, you apply for it and then you see what happens. And I said, oh, that's fair. Okay, whatever. Whatever. I'll apply for it, see what happens. And the fact that it immediately accepted it, I was like, whoa. Either A, I'm way more entertaining than I think I am, which is, I mean, I run my mouth a lot, so I know that I can get in trouble for that. But I would never suspect that it would be something like that. Either that or I know that they've had a lot of big people leave recently, so I was like, maybe it's that. Maybe it's because they've had a lot of big names leave, and like they're trying to get new people. I have no idea. Maybe I'm just the peasant that they're trying to reach out to, be like, oh, it's okay, please be happy with this. I have no idea. I choose to believe there's something sinister going on. That's what I choose to believe. But yeah, now that I am one, I'm probably going to look at actually getting something bigger for it, something that will allow us to have emotes and badges and whatnot. I wasn't quite ready or expecting this, so it might be a little while. I genuinely was not ready or expecting anything. So we'll see. But I do know a few artists in my friends and family circle that I might feel comfortable having them make stuff for us. It just depends on what direction I was going to take with certain artwork. But we'll see. But anyway, so I actually have a story today that I want to tell because it's really adorable. It's adorable. It's funny and it's adorable. So recently, one of my neighbor's kids had a birthday, right? And she's about, she actually never told me how old she was, because that's kind of the crux of the story. But I think she's younger than 10. And in my neighborhood, basically the place that we go, the hangout spot is the cul-de-sac, right? And our neighbors will have cookouts there. We'll have giant little parties there. Like on 4th of July, we'll empty the cul-de-sac out. We'll barricade part of it with cars and then just set off a bunch of fireworks. It's a lot of fun, actually. But the little girl, I'm gonna say, is her name is Gwen, and she's absolutely adorable. If I ever have a little girl, I want her to be more like Gwen because she's adorable. And it's funny because today I was like, oh, hey honey, how old are you? And without missing a beat, she doesn't look at me. She's just staring at like some little doll or something. And she goes, I'm 21. I'm 21 years old. And I was like, that's fair. And it's just been sticking with me all day today. And I'm just like, the mind of children is hilarious because that's just great. I'm 21. Oh, man. Kids. Oof. Bad people gotta die. Oh, I guess they're not coming this way, though, so I guess I should probably drop them off this way. No, let's go this way. I thought that was funny and worth sharing. I hope that y'all enjoyed that, because to me, that was probably the highlight of my day earlier today, was just like having a little girl we're just hanging out in the cul-de-sac, like, I'm 21. It's like, okay, yeah, that's awesome. Alright, let's move you guys over here then. We have the need to throw lawn darts at the enemy. Ugh. But recently, and I'm going to be trading, just an FYI, I'm going to be trading out my my Sunday streams with Halo for some aliens. That new Colonial Fire Team, which, by the way, I actually have some criticisms of that, and I'm debating if I want to make a whole little spiel about it or if I should just kind of talk about it now. I'll probably talk about it now. What the hell am I? Who the hell am I kidding? I have no self-control whatsoever. Probably not Sunday. Saturday. Did I say Sunday? I meant Saturday. I totally meant Saturday. My Saturday streams, not my Sunday streams. Yeah, stop burning my stuff down, boys. Alright, get y'all over there. At least my swordsmen are beating the crap out of horsey boys. But yeah, I do actually have some I think some constructive criticisms, not for the current iteration, but I really hope that Fireteam Elite does really well. And I hope that Focus and, I guess, what was it, Horizon? Is it Horizon? Horizon. No! Well, we enjoy having you here, sir. I'm sorry you have to leave early. But that's okay. Well, it's okay. We'll have part 1, which was 15 minutes, and then we'll have the rest of the VOD up later. But yeah, I get you, man. This is a birthday month, I guess. Everybody's got birthdays. But I think there's some really good. I think I have some constructive criticism for the Aliens Fireteam people. And I know they don't watch me. I know that none of that stuff happens. But I really like where the game is. I like what it offers. I think that it can do better in certain aspects, and I think that as a good entry point for that kind of game, I think it's a lot of fun. It is simple. It is a little basic. But I think that's a kind of a neat little charm about it, is that it's not overly complicated, unlike, you know, some things that end up happening. Some games that end up getting made. Oh my gosh, I like how my cavalry is being, or my spearmen are being attacked by infantry, and my sortie boys are being attacked by cavalry. The exact opposite of what I want. Let's see here. But has anybody else played Aliens yet, or no? Because I've really, really enjoyed that game. I know that Ham and Fokker and I have been playing that like way off of my schedule, but I've just enjoyed it so much that every day when I'm done, I'm like, I really want to play this game. Let's speed up this fight here. Where's my? There it is. I'm debating whether I should just, you know what, I'm gonna just stop getting these guys killed and pull them back.
Enemy units have returned to
Yeah, attack my spear boys. So how are you today, Kiro? I expect a full update with your lady friend. Come on, brah. How'd it go? Did you win? Did you win? I gotta know. Yeah, get those little. What did what cost me? What did what cost me? I don't know. I don't get it. What am I missing? Oh, how are y'all losing? Oh, it's you now are against infantry. God dang it. They got cavalry and infantry in there. But I don't know. We're waiting on Kiro to tell us what happened, man. Kiro left us off with like a cliffhanger last week. I gotta know. What happened? He ain't telling me yet. Everything. Jeez, endgame. Don't get me started on endgame. I actually saw a picture of Lady Death from like the comic books, and she's like all bone except for like, you know, the boobies, and I was like, dude, what the hell are those made out of? There's no meat on her. It's just titty spots where you know they should be, but like it's just bone. There's nothing there. Like what is this? But I'm waiting for Kiro. You gotta tell me, man. You can't just leave us hanging. There's a couple other things in there too, man. There's a couple other things. They made Thanos out to be kind of a punk, man. Miss Marvel. Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, we're not here to discuss Marvel, because then I'll never get anything done. Oh my gosh. I think Mrs. Polygamy is a better character than Mrs. Marvel. But if you don't know Venture Brothers, you're not going to know that one. I wonder if I can move. I need to get my infantry around the sides here. Let's get them marching. And I'm going to need... Yeah, they won't be able to break through that, but they also won't be able to deal with this either. So we'll do both of these guys and then move these two. Oh, wow, they broke through. Okay. Let's do this. I'm Mr. Polygamy, and this is Mrs. Polygamy, Mrs. Polygamy, and Mrs. Polygamy, and Mrs. Polygamy. Polygamy. Jeez. Can't even do it. Talk about a show that really never should have been canceled, and unfortunately has been canceled. And now our consolation prize is going to be a movie that is going to take the place of the last season, and my response to that is screaming at the sky. Well, I mean, honestly, I wish there was more than one season to go. I love the Venture Brothers. I came in really late on it too, which makes me even more upset. I was very much a late addition to that. I think because the show came out, I mean, whenever I was a lot younger, and not that I'm old, but you know, it came out a long time ago, and they've only got like what, over the course of 20 years, they've got 8 seasons, so 6 seasons. Yeah, basically, yeah. They're going to have a whole bunch of crap stuffed into like a 1 or 2 hour movie, and it's going to be an absolute utter nightmare. Like, they're going to have to just drop so many different plot points in order to actually get main plot points out of the way, and it's going to be awful. I'm not looking forward to it. I'll probably still watch it, but I'm not really looking forward to it. I honestly think if they're just going to devote enough money to it that they can make a movie out of it, why not just do the season? I mean, they've already got the story lined up, I think, or he's already got. Is it Doc Mitchell? He already has the story kind of put together. Why not just do it? Yeah, no. And honestly, if they do anything with it, what they need to do is just simply. Oh, is there? Oh, god dang it! They left boats out there. Oh, freaking hell. Okay, fine. Get up there. I left my commander in here. Okay, that was stupid. Well, whatever. Slingers. Y'all? Oh yeah, I got Preventatories in there. Come here. Now die. Oh, I still have cavalry. Okay. Well, that's even more fun. Cavalry, come here. Whoa, why are y'all losing? How are y'all losing? Everybody's breaking. You should not be able to be. You should not even be able to lose at this point. And look, we still have to have the most important discussion ever, which is: are those dinosaur bones at the very first episode? Are those real, or are those just dinosaur bones? Are those robots? Which one is it? Like, what is that? I love how like they'll bring up stuff like 3 seasons later and then make it an actual thing. I love that crap. It's like The Wire for me. If you've never seen The Wire, there's little things they say that like I think the first episode of the first season they talk about a character and you never hear about that character again until like the 4th or 5th season. And you're like, wait a minute, I recognize that name. Where's it from? And if you're not paying attention, you'll never catch it. And even now, I can't remember his name, but it's like it's a relation essentially for one of the bad guys, one of the criminals. And like as the story goes, you actually learn about like relationships, professional or family relationships with that one guy, and like you won't ever know it's him unless you're not paying attention, because they don't bring him up until like the 3rd or 4th season. And then like it starts tying all these different pieces together about how like the crime-ridden streets of Baltimore is like it's kind of a family thing as much as it is a dysfunctional thing. It's really cool. But anyway, I like how they'll tie stuff like that in.
The day is ours. They lie broken beneath the waves.
Ah, that's the sweet, sweet taste of victory. The Maurians can suck it. But yeah, I'm not even sure. Look, my main thing is I still want to see Hank become Batman. Oh man, I don't want to kill them all. Let's be nice. Let's take the money and run. But it is what it is. Here we go. Hostile agent activity. All right, we'll give it another 15, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then what we'll do is we'll start the history stuff. In the meantime, let's take Camulodinum. Oh, okay. I guess that was easy. I will just occupy the city of Camelimindidumindin. Oops. What is this? Chieftain's hut. Jetty. Okay. So he's got crossbowmen.
I am yours to command.
Let's definitely put you here. Now, let's see here. Jamina. See, this is the next problem that I'm going to run into. I literally don't have any enemies on this side of the map. And everything else is relatively okay. Well, I guess this place needs a little bit of work, but that's okay. I have quite literally wiped out or pushed away every enemy over here. There's nothing for me to fight. I don't think Attila's even shown up yet, or if he has, I'm not even sure he has. If he has, he's just effed off to the middle of nowhere. Yeah, the Huns are way over here. I guess Attila is here, and he's just leaving me the hell alone. What is this campaign that I'm playing? That's really Attila. So it is Attila. And he should be coming over here and trying to kick my teeth in. That's what I've been waiting for. He's way the hell over here. He's actually supposed to be right around here, and then he's supposed to come through and just kind of terrorize all of this place, and then he's supposed to try and kidnap a princess, and all sorts of stuff. But I guess that's not going to happen.
I welcome you, worthy speaker.
Wow.
I listen because
I'm honestly debating whether I should just take over all the... I think what it is I remember what it is now. I think if all these settlements get raised, the Huns, the AI just goes, oh, there's nothing over here for me that I want. And so they just ignores everything. I think that's what it is. And so I can actually I just avoided the Huns simply because everything else got raised to the ground by barbarians. I mean, that's one way to do it, I suppose. I don't know if it's the way that I would want it to be done, but alright. Let's see here.
At your service.
I'd say how much faster we're gaining. Okay. Latin Christianity is still falling, and we are at +5.
we hunger for battle.
No, don't want that. Can I? No, I cannot. How about here? No, I cannot. Anyway, so how was everybody's week? I know some of y'all I don't get to see except for Fridays. So, how was y'all's week? I know Kiro still hasn't told me about his lady friend. Come on, man, what's going on, man? Did you win? Did you win? I'm dying to know, man. Let me check. Is he in here? Kira's still in here. Very good. Yeah, Kira's here. Come on, brah. Sorry, you can message me on Discord. That's cool too. That's cool.
At your service.
All right, let us get our brave Honorius, our proper version of Honorius.
We hunger for battle.
Here I am thinking he's ducking me, and he's just like, no, man, I'm getting eaten.
At your command.
All right, let's see. Rotomagus. Fishing jetties. That's fine. They need food anyway, don't they? Yeah. -58 kind of tells me they need food. Let's tear that down.
We hunger for battle.
Well, welcome back, sir. Now that you've had your food, I told you, man, I want to know what's going on. You had good news last week, and now I gotta know what was the result. You had a whole week. You shouldn't be waiting more than a week, right? That's the general. Okay, so well, Zeal's pretty good for that. Now, I did kick the crap out of him, so it's... Oh, no, that wasn't them. That was somebody else, I think. Yeah, but now I'm not in a state of civil war. Everything is nice and hunky-dory. Oh, I have a rebellion in my happy empire? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. In the meantime, what do you have? You'll have some speary boys. I have no cavalry that can counter this, but I'm pretty sure that if I walked up my army, I'd still kick your teeth in.
Himself.
Yeah, you ran. Okay, that's smart.
Forgive me, but I cannot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're killing these guys.
Destroy them.
Can I see the battlefield? Yeah, let's just go ahead and just knock it out. Ugh.
At once.
Here we go. We should definitely fight this battle. Never mind. Oh my gosh. Ah! Hey, at least you're talking to her, man. That's good. It's good. It's good.
Advance.
Hey, it's in some cases that's braver than I was whenever I was younger, or I say whenever I was like in my teens. Jeez. I don't know why, but there's that big conversation about like getting rid of certain people, like, you know, making sure that you can get rid of Downs people recently, and that kind of like, I was like, man, that sucks. Like, why would you do that to somebody? Not that we're talking about it tonight, but I was like, dude, this sucks. Ooh, national holidays. See, all of ours are gone right now. We don't have another holiday coming up in America until like what? Well, not a real holiday. We've got the fake-o holidays that happen quote unquote every day, but I'm sure there's like hot dog day somewhere here between now and December. That's about it. That's all we got. We got Christmas and then Hanukkah, which same thing. Christmas and Hanukkah. I don't think it's anything. Well, Halloween, but I'm talking about like an actual holiday. Ooh, well, I mean, it's a good thing y'all got away from Spain. I mean, if we just look at Spain. What is this? Where is my food going? I got trade jetties, trade jetties. Is that really just producing that much food? Spain's always been a weird nation. Like, I mean, I haven't really looked too much into it, but just Spain has always been kind of a weird country to me. It just seems weird. Every time I learn something about Spain, I kind of just roll I just kind of like, you know, go, oh, okay, that's interesting in the most kind way possible, you know? Much in the same way that I'm sure Europe looks at America and is like, oh, that's a weird thing that y'all do. Like, I'm 90% sure that's most interactions with Europeans learning that Americans do something. It's like, oh, what is this? Oh, it's cheese baked in cheese, wrapped in bread, baked in cheese. And it's like, oh, you're from America, aren't you?
At your command. Ready for orders.
Okay, let's see if we can get this done now. Man. And by the way, I disavow those people that do the cheese thing. That's weird. Look, if you're into cheese like that, that's great. I'm happy for you, but just leave me out of it. That sounds like a really big pain in the butt. But it's like anything with too much sweet or too much cheese, too much anything. It just kind of It's like was it like an old, very very old episode of not Homer Simpson, of The Simpsons, where Homer's lying on the couch and he's got that really sexy voice on the TV describing food, and it's like we sprayed this piece of wafer with 3 layers of Dutch chocolate and baked it in a nice layer of creamery butter and topped it off with cinnamon sugar, and he's like, it's like that just makes me go like, oh god, that sounds horrifying to me.
My lord wishes to bestow coin on your people.
I don't know if y'all have seen that. It's a really old episode. It's probably one of the more classic ones, but I mean, it's kind of like, you know, watching Naruto or something. At a certain point, you just stop paying attention. Like, you're not. If you weren't there from the beginning, you just don't care. Peace treaty. I'll tell you what. Peace treaty if y'all are puppet states, and I'll give you trade. No, then the answer is no. So no, we will take England back. Man, apparently AI is just like, nope, cannot mess around with the Empire. Just cannot mess around with the Empire. And I like that. Raid settlement. Raid. Oh, that's right. So when am I going to get my Raid Shadow Legends endorsement? I'm kidding. I'm just having fun. Oh my god. Let's repair. Alright, let's get him. Oh, it's about even. Alright, so let's just sit tight there. Let's see if I can get the fish. Is it the fish? Is that what it is? Is that his logo? Fit or banner is a fish, right? If I ever sell Raid Shadow Legends, sir, you will be one of the first people that has to watch me play the game. And I'll be talking about how amazingly fun it is and how you should definitely get it. No, I don't think I'll ever take that. Oh man, I remember people joking about getting those, and then they all started doing it, like slowly but surely. It was kind of a joke. It was like, oh wait, hold on. There's actually money to be made here. And I honestly it just looks like another. See, it just looks like another freaking mobile game that I'm not interested in. But hey, boo this man, boo Wendy Testaburger, boo Wendy, boo. There's a what was it? There was a very hopeful take on. So not that I want to get political, but China, if you're not paying attention or if you don't know, China recently restricted younger people to 3 hours of video game time like a week, and I thought that was kind of crappy and awful. But somebody had like a really good take on it, and I have to share it because I was like, oh, maybe they're right. Maybe this is the beginning of the saving of video games. Because as most games, as most developers go, we get more and more and more into the realms of multiplayer, and multiplayer is kind of the thing that drives a lot of the market, and I hate that. I like single player games. Not that there's anything wrong with multiplayer. It's just I prefer to be able to play a good, strong single player campaign. That's just the way I like to play. And he's like, well, this will be funny when China's trying to destroy the video game market when it ultimately when it actually ends up saving it, because now that. Oh no! Well, this won't stop China being involved in video gaming. But now that you've just cut out a core demographic for a very large chunk of their lives, what it will do is, I wouldn't say what it will do. Potentially, what it will do is actually encourage them to go back to a more strong single player market, so they don't lose those kids. Because if you can make a non-DRM game that doesn't need to be online to play, that'll be a single-player game. So what you'll need to be doing is focusing from multiplayer interactions to strong single-player games, ironically saving the video game industry from itself. And I thought that was funny because I'm like, if this is what China's doing and this is what it happens, that it creates a strong single-player game, market, I'll be like, all right, I'll take it. Because they don't make many of those anymore. And honestly, mobile has been...
Oh, yeah.
Hey, thank you, America. America! Well, thank you for following this evening, America. We are going to... Let's see what we're going to do. What was I doing? See, this is the problem. When I start playing this game and I start talking, then bad things happen. Bad things like I forget what I'm doing. Well, honestly, I usually kind of just laughed at it because my first take was, congratulations, Western video game market. You just single-handedly played yourself. You spent all this time, energy, and money trying to get in good with China just for China to go, yeah, go screw off. We all knew it was going to happen. It always does. So nobody is surprised. However, when I heard that take, I was like, you know what, that's not beyond the realm of possibility for, video game companies, of course, for multiplayer. They don't have a choice. They have to deal with that. But what if they may start making games where they don't need to do that? Oh, well, yeah. Well, so if you've ever, well, I don't know if this is your first time watching America, but one of the things I've been doing is I've been going through the history of the Western Roman Empire, and China is actually tied into that a little bit, although I probably won't go through the history of that. China has been a utter show since like the history of time. Like ever since time was being recorded, China has been a hotbed of just crazy stuff happening. Not consistently every year, but a lot of it. Now, it's only been like the past 100 years that it's been absolutely insane, but you know, details. Governor, let's see, give me more food. But yeah, now maybe one day I'll try to sit down and do China, because China's fun. China's a fun topic up until you get to the CCP. But yeah, no, so I heard that take, and I was like, that's not beyond the realm of possibility, because it's not that those companies want to stop selling to this Chinese market, but what they can do is maybe potentially find a way to get around that, and instead not have games that are DRM'd or require internet connectivity to play, and therefore be able to circumvent the 3 hours. You know, because that's the whole point. You know, if you're on the internet, then that's whenever that thing kicks in. But if you don't have to connect to the internet, then you don't need to do the check. That's a possibility. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. I don't know. I mean, it's an idea. I'm not sure how good of an idea it is. I know that the companies that, if a company does that and does it intentionally, China is known for kicking people's teeth in. So, especially companies. So they'd have to do it very carefully, almost to the point where they'd have to kind of find some other group to circumvent it on purpose, is my thought. But I mean, again, when it comes to corporations doing stuff, I'm not a corporate espionage expert or a corporate strategist expert, so I don't know. I would take that with a heavy grain of salt. But when I heard that, I was like, that's an interesting idea. I don't dislike that idea. I think it might be a bit far-fetched, but I think that it's definitely within the realm of possibility, because now you've got all these companies that have invested all this time and energy into this country, just to be told, by the way, you're going to basically be kicked out of the country, or not kicked out of the country. You're going to be sidelined, and you're not going to make much money from your core demographic. And by the way, like, the Chinese market is actually, you know, the gaming market in China is actually not a bad thing. Like, they were really, really vocal about Creative Assembly's I guess, what are you going to call it? Their blunder, if you want to call it a blunder, with Three Kingdoms, where, you know, Creative Assembly promised something, and now they're going, well, yeah, but I don't really want to do it.
We defend this great city and our people.
See, now, that I agree with too, but that costs money. So if you're making products specifically for China, that costs money. If they don't have to do it, they won't. It's there's a theory, and I forget what it's called, but it's basically like you're appealing to the lowest denominator in the room. So if you're in a room with family, and you've got 12 people in a room, and one of them is vegetarian, well, the thing you're going to do is you're going to appease the vegetarian, right? Because you have to. They're family. You're not gonna not appease them, because that would be very rude and horrible, and then you don't eat. So what ends up happening is that because of one person, the other 11 eat vegetarian that night, and it's a really good way of looking at the different markets. Well, I know, fucker, people like you and me would just say, screw it, you know, maybe I'll make you like a small like vegetarian meal, but I would probably go a little bit further, and I'd be like, get him some steamed broccoli and like maybe some steamed carrots. Just really easy crap that I can do. Just let it sit in a pot, and I'd be done with it. But that's the idea. That's the theory behind it. And I think that theory explains a lot of why we see lots of stuff happening in video gaming. We see it in movies too. China is such a, I hate to use the word cancer, but the Chinese government is such a cancer on media, especially in the West, and it's so bad because we don't expect the same from them. Again, not that I want to get political. That's not why I'm here. That's not what I'm talking about. But it is something that I do find a little bit hopeful. Maybe there's a little hope in there, a little bit somewhere, maybe, because then now that China obviously isn't interested in dealing with them, they have one of two options: continue bending over, which is probably what they're going to end up doing, or try and find ways to circumvent it without getting in trouble. Now, well, yeah, but I don't like to talk politics on my streams. I would dare say this is wading into politics because it is about different countries and talking about policies and whatnot. But when it comes to media, I think it's a very, very kind of fine line, because I like stories. I love stories. And ever since I was a kid, I've always just wanted to hear more and more and more stories, play more and more games, hear more and more points of view. I do actually enjoy just listening to a story. Heck, if I could listen to radio dramas from back in the day, I probably would. I think this was the old Shadow radio dramas. I've been wanting to listen to those for a while. But when it comes down to media, we've seen such an ingress for the desire of the what I would call the ethereal, wider market. And it's not that a wider market doesn't exist. It's just that the market that they're looking for is very difficult to pull off. Or sorry, not to pull, to find. There's very few things that appeal to everyone, and when you try to make something appeal to everyone, it appeals to no one. Especially whenever you start dealing with cross-cultural boundaries, where, if you look at the West right now, the West and China have almost nothing in common. So why are you trying to make something that appeals to both the West and China? That doesn't make sense. Does it mean you can't? Does it mean it can't be done? Absolutely not. No, Cowboy Bebop, which is a great example, like the original animation of Cowboy Bebop, is a great example where you didn't actually have a very big fan base in the East, but just enough. But you had a lot of it in the West, a ton of it. Americans loved Cowboy Bebop. It is why it is as big as it is today. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I'm sorry, well, Full Metal Alchemist, not Brotherhood of the anime, is a great example of big fandoms in both the East and the West. But it's rare. It's very rare. And it's one of those lightning strikes, and it struck twice in some cases, but not very often. The new Star Wars movies is an attempt to do that. They tempered those movies, not that they were any good with or without it, but they tempered those movies for the sole purpose of trying to court the audience in China, which didn't work. I don't believe this will ever work. At least not as long as China has different values and different interests than the ones in the United States and the Europe, or not the Europe. But that's me just spouting and ranting and raving. So don't mind me. I don't believe, and I don't think that those things are changing anytime soon. But I'm hoping that because of those things, they will wise up and stop courting them so much. The Mist of Pandaria. See, I was never a WoW fan. As an example, I've got stories for almost everything, man. So I'll tell you this story real quick. When I was 16, 17 years old, I worked in a really big chain, I guess, department store for electronics. And my boss at the time, who hated my guts, who just thought I was an idiot, when, to be fair, I was 16, 17 years old. I was an idiot. But not for the reasons that he thought. I was an idiot because I didn't have that much life experience. But he... One day, a buddy of mine, I was having a really hard time in life. I was feeling really down all the time. And so a buddy of mine hands me a disc copy of World of Warcraft. Free, the whole 9 yards. And at the time, and even now, I would say, why do I want to pay for a video game and then on top of that pay a monthly subscription for a video game? That just sounds stupid. And it's not that, it's dumb to do that, but it's like, I'd have to really, really like the game. And because I was never a Blizzard fan, I was never a Warcraft fan, it never really caught on with me, so it really didn't do much for me. I just got nothing against anybody that enjoys it. I think that it's great that they do, and honestly, I'll admit, like, the idea of World of Warcraft as I've gotten older is like, oh, this would be really cool to see something that I played in my childhood come to life in such a real way. That would be fantastic. I would love it. It kind of makes me sad that, like, by the time I could play it, Star Wars Galaxies and Warhammer Online, like, those two things, they were already gone. But yeah, it's a cool idea, being able to see something like that, and exactly, like, why am I paying money and then not, like, if you were saying, hey, here's $10 to pay for the game, like the physical fact, you baited Star. Okay, you know what? Oh crap, we're gonna come back to that. Fuck, I'm gonna write that down. We're gonna come back to that, but not right now. I got stories to tell. But anyway, so World of Warcraft is out. It's been out for a little while, but I installed it. I think I started it once and then I immediately turned it off because I was just like, I'm just not interested in this. I just don't find anything interesting about World of Warcraft. I have no reference for it. You know, it's not that it's a bad idea. I'm just not the target market because I never played Warcraft 1 or 2. I don't think 3 was out. It was 3 out? Yeah, 3 was probably out, I think. I can't remember. Yeah, 3 was out. 3 was out. I think 3 came out. Yeah, there was 3, then it was World of Warcraft. Jeez, man, see, this is the thing. When it comes down to Warcraft stuff and Blizzard stuff, like, I missed the train for when Blizzard was good. Yeah, most MMORPGs are like that for me. I don't find anything fun about them. Let's see, let's just cancel that. But anyway, so I get the game, and I tell my boss, like, you know, because he also knows that I've been having a hard time, just been kind of down and unhappy for a while, and I tell him that, you know, like, hey, I've been, you know, it's just we're just talking now. There's nobody in the store. It's literally just us, and you know, he's like, well, what have you been doing to fix that? And I was like, well, I got a new copy of, like, World of Warcraft for free, and he goes, oh, so how much have you played? And I was like, oh, none. And he goes, how long have you had it? And I was like, that's about a month, I guess. And he's like, why? Like, why would you've had? He described it to he explained it as, it's like somebody handed you a Ferrari and you've never touched it. And I was like, I don't think that's true, but okay, all right. World of Warcraft is one of those things that it's, as an adult, it's fascinating to me, but it's not something that I'm interested in ever playing, especially now that Blizzard has just gone through. I don't know what Blizzard is doing. Exactly. You know what? I'm right there with you. I think that I'd rather do that too. Oh man. But I was kind of floored by the number of people that absolutely love World of Warcraft. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're not here to judge. We're not here to judge that. It's okay to like bad stuff. I mean, you know, Fokker thinks that, you know, Aliens 3 is better than Aliens Resurrection. It's okay. We're not here to judge. Oh, it's gonna be a close one. Okay, so how long? We got 4 turns. We're gonna just keep it. Oh man, I'm waiting for him to kind of. I'm waiting. I can hear his keyboard clacking in the background. I can hear it all the way from here. I can hear just the. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for him to try and be snide about it. There you go. Look, MMORPGs to me are. They have the capacity to be fun. Yep, I got Stonehenge Town. Here we go. But like, I think the closest thing I came into really playing an MMORPG was Defiance, and I really liked the idea. The idea of Defiance is a lot of fun to me. The idea that a TV show and a video game were intertwined in a way that were like stuff that would happen in the universe would affect the game, so they would kind of release content with the show. I thought that was pretty cool, and I liked that, and I paid $60 for that game. Now, the problem is that it didn't turn out that good, and I never made it that far. I just wasn't that into it. It's just the same problem I always run into MMORPGs. I hate the grind. Exactly. I end up doing absolutely nothing. I spent hours running around doing absolutely nothing. And I don't feel like anything that I ever did mattered. You know? Like, when I play a game, like an RPG or anything like that, I want the world to affect or be affected by what I do. That's kind of the point of an RPG, is that something you do affects the world around you. Now, that may be something major, maybe something minor. I don't know. It depends, but it is something. You know, that's kind of the point, is that if I played an old tabletop RPG and I was playing with friends and we're doing paper and pen, I expect that when I make a decision, that something would happen. Something would permanently affect the world around me if I do something big enough. Yeah, no, absolutely not. I'm not interested in paying money for that. $5,000 and negative 50 food. How are we on food? Negative. Ooh, that's close. What the audio cut out again? Huh. Okay, that's weird. Okay. So I don't know what. Where is it? That's really weird. Okay, well, okay, now it's back. Jeez, I don't know what it is that broke, but something broke. Jeez. I need to figure out what the heck just happened there. Okay. See, I wish I could say the same. I just can't. I'm very few RPGs or very few MMOs have ever caught my attention and kept it, because I'm not interested in the world. That's the big thing for me. If I'm not interested in the world around me, if I'm not interested in the things that are happening or the characters, I'm not going to get into it. It's just the way that it works. Well, so here's the thing. Attila is way off in... Oh, he's heading here. I think he's heading here, boys. He might be. See, he was way over here, like, 2 turns ago. And he seems to be heading over here, but they've kind of... They made, like, a little incursion over here, but they've not done anything. Like, I think they had, like, 1 or 2 groups come in here. We had, like, 1 little fight, and then they ran away after I butchered all of them. But I think... Yeah, he's not happy with me. The problem is that what I really needed to do is like really beef up some of my security around here, and I just haven't done it. Exactly. Up until eventually he decides to take a drink of something and then dies because he bleeds into his throat. I mean, what a way for a commander to go. What a way for like the scourge of Europe to actually die. He dies because he drinks too much and he drowns in his own blood. What a crappy way to go. Anyway, America, one of the things that I do on Fridays is my Fridays are spent playing, of course, this game and also discussing history. So in a little bit, we're going to start looking at... I don't even... No, he never made it that far. He never got there. His brand new wife never had a chance to consummate that marriage. That's why she was terrified afterwards. She was mortified because that means that she is fair game. But yeah, so right now we're discussing the Gothic Wars. We're at the tail end of the Western Roman Empire. Some people say that it fell at the last emperor. The Western Roman Empire extended long after that, but we are getting at the very end of it. So I'm going to take one more turn, probably take 1 or 2 more drinks of my lovely beverage, and then we're going to keep looking at what happens next. And of course, we're going to recap. And now that I've actually learned how to use the snipping tool in Twitch, we are going to. I'm probably going to actually start cutting my my history sections out and just leaving them up as clips in case anybody wants to watch just the history. Okay, let's do this. And I'm so one of the things I try to do is I try to go into excruciatingly in-depth detail because details are fun. So what I'll do is I'll read different historians, and then I'll put those pieces together because not every historian, of course, is talking about everything at once. And then I'll try to make either, if I can, I'll put together a very in-depth analysis, or if I can't, then I'll just kind of put together what I can. There's some sections of history that, unfortunately, nobody talks about.
Ready for orders.
I can't imagine why. Like, was it 2-3 weeks ago, we talked about Antonina, the wife of Belisarius, the general that essentially retakes Italy in the name of the Byzantine Empire, or sorry, the Eastern Roman Empire. And how much of a horrible human being she was. Oh, you're not old enough yet. Okay, fine. Look at this. Look at this. Flavius having 1, 2, 3. Oh crap, the other two are dead. That's not good. He only had one son and one daughter that survived. That's so sad. But hey, look, I guess my loyalty problem is still existing, but that's okay. We'll deal with them in due time. Even if we must chop a few heads off. Let's get these guys all lined up. But yeah, we'll start that in just a second. No, that's a governor. I don't want a governor in there. Jeez, no, stop. I don't want governors in here. I want generals. Except for you. You can have that. Nope. Yep. Yep. Okay, now we can do governors. Yeah, I hope it'll be fun. So if this is your first time watching, then hopefully you will appreciate it. And if you don't, well, I only do it once a week. It's only on Fridays. But yeah, what I need to do. So one of the sad things that I did recently is, well, recently it's been like what, 2 months. I actually did the Siege of Rome. The Siege of Rome, which was the last stand of Rome against the Goths, where the Romans won. And when I was done writing that and putting all the pieces together and things like that, I actually came across another historian that had actually had firsthand accounts of acts of heroism in the Siege of Rome. And I still need to go back and actually look at them in more detail and put them together, because it actually tells the tales of heroes that never made it out of the actual city, or some did, but most of them didn't, where like you have one guy holding off like a cavalry charge with like nothing but javelins, and it's crazy. Like this one guy, I'm kind of phasing into the history section, but it's a guy who stood on a bridge with just a bunch of javelins, and there's a sally out that had occurred, and he just grabbed a bunch of javelins, ran out of the gate when he saw the cavalry coming, called his friends back inside who came running. Oh boy, that's a bit too much. I don't like those odds, so we're gonna pull back there. And they're probably gonna come after me anyway. And he just starts chucking javelins, and he's actually hitting everything every time he throws one, he's hitting an enemy. But he causes a choke point on the bridge, which causes the cavalry charge to just collapse. So he actually chokes the bridge full of dead horses, and manages to make it back inside with like 12 javelins. Exactly. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And the thing is, I know what bridge he was on, and I'm like, man, I could like, we can actually look at the way he did this, because I can tell where by reading the account and knowing where the Gothic camps were, I can then trace, okay, where were they coming from, how many would they probably have, who was there. I can probably find all that out. It would be really interesting. Oh, we have a deserter. Don't like deserters. But no, he was actually he wasn't just a citizen, he was just a member of the garrison, and he managed to make it. There's another guy who was I guess most of his men were killed, and he was the last man standing on the bridge, And he just started cutting Goths down until finally he was overwhelmed and stabbed to death. And that was, he bought his men enough time to close the gate while he held them all off. Because again, bridges in some cases aren't that big. Like cool stuff like that. But it is way beyond that point now. At this point in history, maybe I'll do another section on it way later after I'm done. But you know, stuff like that, I would like to put more effort into those. But again, that's going to be later down the line. The next thing I'm going to do is either start at the beginning of Roman history, so the founding of Rome, or I haven't decided, but maybe what I'll do is I'll do some Asian history, so China and Japan, something like that. Depends. It all depends. I'm very much willing to let people make that decision for me. I just need to know what everybody wants. So actually, I know that you followed tonight, but if you want to, you can also join the Discord. And if you have a suggestion for me, you can definitely leave it in there, and I will absolutely listen to that. And I will make accommodations if there's something that you want to see or hear or see me play. I'll be happy to accommodate, of course, within reason. And no, hot tub streams are off the limits. I do not look good in a bikini. So actually, I'm going to let these guys come at me. And since now we're just waiting. Look, man. Only Speedos, man. Only Speedos. And they're skin colored too to make it good. I mean, why would you have a hot tub stream if you're not going to wear a Speedo? That's my first question. Like, what kind of half-ass thing do you think I'm running here? This is professionalism, sir. Professionalism. We have this in spades here. All right. So right now, since we're just going to be kind of sitting and playing defense, I'm not really going to worry about this too much. So let me actually write down. Where is it? There's my pencil. That way I know where to cut. So last we left off, Totila is now the new king of the Goths, right? Let me actually turn down everything else real quick. Nope. Don't get rid of all of it, just most of it. Totila is now the king of the Goths, after the other Goth kings either A, fought each other to death, B, tried to essentially, you know, swindle their own people, or C, just dying. We now have King Totila. And Totila is gaining support among a bunch of Goths that are very, very, very unhappy and feel like they're not being heard. So much so that they are willing to actually start a war with the Romans, or the remaining Romans, for the sole purpose of just dying with honor. They're not actually looking to win, they are looking to die. And that's a very, very interesting place to be. But the Romans are not liking this. So, they gather together under the banner of a man named Constantianus. And Constantianus, leaving his city with 12,000 men, was where we left off. So, the Roman commanders are now gathering all across Italy, and they assembled in the city of Ravenna. There they formed that plan of attack in the hopes of dealing with Totila very quickly. Their first target would be the city of Verona. And this is where they leave from Ravenna to head to Verona. So the Romans marched to Verona, Constantianus leading them to put down the Goths and retake Italy in the name of Emperor Justinian. Upon their travels, the Roman commanders are intercepted by a messenger. The messenger states that his master, Marcian, is eager to welcome the Romans into the city and explains his master's plan to get them there. Uh-oh. Oh, that's fine. I didn't think I'd actually have to pay attention to this fight, but I guess I do. Alright, so Marcian had already arranged for one of his friends, who also happened to be a gate guard, to open the gate and let the Romans into the city. The commanders, of course, are very pleased by this, and they agreed to help in any way they could. And also, the city's garrison commanders are also very happy to help. They like the Romans for now. However, they could not simply march an army up to the gates of an enemy-held city, so they asked for volunteers among the men who might lead a scouting force to enter the city. Silence was their response. No one said a word. No one volunteered. I can't imagine why. So, the commanders again ask for volunteers. Silence. No one wants to be on this mission. Not one. So, like all things, a third time. The third time, a man named Artabazus, which I know that I am butchering this poor man's name, but I have no idea. I don't know where this guy's from, and I don't know like what culture it's from, so I couldn't even kind of get an idea. He's an Eastern Roman that's also from further east, but I have no idea where he's from, so I can't even look up to see if I'm pronouncing it right. Artabazus stands up and he volunteers. And he would lead a 100-man force to see if they could trust this Marcian fellow. It turns out they could. The evening they approached the city, the gates opened and Artabazus and his men entered that lovely, lovely city of Verona. Artabazus and his men rushed through the gate, up the walls, and killed the Gothic defenders before anyone even knew what was going on. The insertion team then signaled the remaining forces to approach once they fully secured that section of the wall. So again, they're not actually able to take the city, they're just taking the wall, right? Now, the Gothic defenders, the rest of the Gothic defenders, saw that a gate had opened, and they start freaking out. They think they just got they think now the city is gone, that they had just lost the entire city in like no time at all, which technically is true. And so what they do is they open up another gate and just run right out that gate, and they just leave. And instead of fleeing, like just running away entirely, they moved to a good scouting location where they could watch to see what was happening. From here, they went to an actual, basically a large rock that overlooked the city. It's kind of hard to describe. It's not a mountain. It's just like a big, big overlook for the city. And from here, they all just kind of sat and waited and just watched. From there, they could see the entire city, inside the city, and the surrounding plains for miles. Now, the Roman army is still quite far away, but they were moving towards the city. Throughout the night, the Goths quietly watched and waited. Slowly, the sun begins to rise, their position on the rock becoming more advantageous with the rising sun. The Romans had scattered through the city, and the Roman army had stopped their advance. Not knowing what to do, they waited. The Roman army remained immobile. The morning was wasting, and still the Roman army remained stationary, quite far away, in fact. The Goths decided it was now or never. The former garrison quickly moved their way down from their scouting position. Time was of the essence, and if the Romans were scattered through the city, the fight would be easier. The gate that had facilitated their escape was still open. Hello, kitty. Sorry. No, don't sit on my nose, kitty. Bad kitty. Now I lost my spot, kitty. Thank you. Where was I? All right. So the gate that facilitated their escape was still open. I know, right? Well, she decided to hop on my notes here, and then just decided to sit down. And I'm like, no, bad kitty, bad. The gate that facilitated their escape was still open, and through it they surged, through, meeting the Romans wherever they found them. Their priority being the gate that was opened by the Roman guard. Now that the Goths had retaken most of the city, because there's only 100 people that are actually, there's only 100 Romans, the Roman generals decided now was a good time to move on to the city. Much to their surprise, the agreed-upon gate was closed, and worse, they were being fired upon by Goths. So they moved to another gate, and what they found was a desperate struggle of the remaining Romans fighting inside the fortifications and on the parapets. Though these Romans fought valiantly, they were in no way going to win. Artabazus called down to the Romans and begged them not to abandon them to their fates at the hands of the Goths. But there was no way out. The Romans were trapped between a full garrison and a sudden drop. The fight was getting more desperate, and the Goths were pressing in harder. The Romans beneath the walls could only watch, powerless to aid their comrades. No. Don't want to go that far. Come back here. These guys are just hanging out? Is that what they're doing? Oh. I guess let's just charge my cavalry and see what happens. Artabazus, not seeing a way through the fight, ordered his remaining men to jump. It was either certain death by the Goths or probable death by the fall. Those who jumped had no time to look where they landed. The ground outside the city had soft patches, but the ground also was covered in rocks in some areas. It was pure luck for those who landed on the softer ground. Those that did not were smashed to pulp on the rocks below, their only solace being that they died instantly. Artabazus then joined the army, limping his way towards the commanders. What possible problem delayed his relief? Surely something of the utmost importance delayed the army from capturing a city that was practically handed to them. Instead, the reason for the delay... Indeed, the reason for the delay was of the greatest import. So important that it could not wait a single moment. The commanders needed to decide what they were going to do with all the money they were about to liberate from the city they hadn't captured yet. His men died, and the city was lost because his superiors cared more about money than their men. I'm so glad we don't have to deal with that crap today, right? I'm so glad we have leaders that don't do that. I'm gonna take a drink real quick. I need to wash the bullcrap out of my mouth. Even I don't believe that lie. So now here's part 2 of that, though. When you attack a city, especially one that you fail to take, that tends to get around. So Totila, who is actually now gaining momentum, now knows where they are. And marshaled his forces to move against the Romans. But perhaps the Romans could salvage their loss. Totila was moving towards their position, but to do so, they'd have to cross a river. An excellent advantage to have if you're a defender. So the Byzantines began putting a plan together, and Artabazus put forward a plan that would allow the Romans to at least cut the Gothic force in half. His plan was simple. Uh-oh. I need to get my spear boys over there. Where was I? His plan was simple. As the Goths crossed the river, the Byzantines would hide nearby. When roughly half the force had crossed, the Byzantines would charge, cutting the Gothic force to pieces. With their superior numbers, a solid plan, a good plan. Any commander would give serious thought to such a plan. So, of course, it was discounted. Instead, they sat there in their position and waited. Now, we're lucky to get a glimpse into the motives and drives for the Goths. Apparently, Artabazus, while fighting the Goths in Verona, had the opportunity to speak with them, or at least some. During his meetings with commanders, during his meeting with his commanders, he describes not desperation, but a sort of resignation, like I said before. Oh, let's kill all these guys. Uh-oh. They charging me? Yep, they're charging me. Okay, hold on. I need to make sure they don't just walk into my group and kill everybody. The Goths feel that their lives... their lives and land had been unjustly taken from them to the point where they had very few places to go, and this was fueling their relentless pushes into Roman territory. One could probably deduce this, but it does give voice and motivations. Either way, the Romans felt comfortable with their position in numbers. The Romans had, as I said, 12,000 men. Well, 11,900 if you are keeping count. Since they roughly lost about 100 men. But details. Whereas the Goths had at most 5,000. Doesn't take a military genius to figure out how that works out. Any fight that the Goths engaged in would be their last. Totila, without knowing what his enemy was thinking, agreed entirely. He understood that whatever fight they would have next would decide the current campaign. He had advantages, though. He knew where the enemy was, and he knew roughly their number. Now all he had to do was beat an army twice the size of his own. Seems so simple until you say it out loud. Totila was in a real bind. Despite gathering every man he could find, the strategic situation was against him. The Byzantine could lose all 12,000 men and be able to replace them all within weeks. Every man he lost was one he could not replace. He didn't need to just win. He needed to win decisively. He needed to make the Romans break. Totila then gathered 300 cavalry and ordered them to leave the main force and cross a river much further down than where the main force would cross. They were also needing to do this before Totila arrived. Meanwhile, the main force moved to the city of Faventia, or Faventia, depending upon your loving way you say that. Faventia or Faventia. The Roman scouts saw the Goths begin to cross the river and into their territory. Like we discussed with Vitiges using the Po River to his advantage, the Romans did not. They allowed the Goths to cross unharmed, but formed their own battle lines. Once the battle lines were formed, a lone Goth emerged from the ranks of Totila, a large and terrifying warrior named Valerius. He rode out of the ranks, bellowing insults and challenges to the Romans. No one moved out of their ranks to meet him. His size alone enough to terrify the soldiers, and fighting him one-on-one was not an appealing option. Again, Valerius called out to his enemy, daring any man to face him in open combat. Silence, once again, settled over the field, with only the sound of the river to break it, and the sound of shields shaking. Then a solitary man rode out to meet Valerius. Artabazus. I don't know. Should I keep going? This is one fun moment. I don't know. Should I keep going? I'm debating. Yeah, let's do it. The Gothic and Roman armies had chosen their field, and champions stepped forward. Silence continued to rule the field. Both men faced each other, then charged. The thundering of hooves, the only respite from the uneasy silence that had ruled the field up until now. A loud crash and the sound of crunching armor was heard like a thunderbolt from heaven itself. Artabazus' spear had punched through the armor of Valerius on his right side, but Valerius still stood upright on his horse. Artabazus thrust all his weight behind his spear and gave it another push, hoping to finish the fight instantly. He stood upon his spurs and drove his full body weight into the thrust. Artabazus himself almost thrown off his own saddle by the sheer force he drove into Valerius. But Artabazus's... Are we done yet? All right, we're done. Artabazus's zealousness would be his undoing. By raising himself up out of his saddle, it gave Valerius an opening. Valerius raised his spear and shoved it under his helmet, but over his armor, under his neck. He did not get him. He did not get a direct hit. What he did do was cut his neck. Not a lot, but just a little. In reality, Valeris was already dead. He had only seconds to live, and before the final thrust of Artabazus had been accomplished, he was already passing out and dying. Artabazus is already driving his spear down with all of his weight, and thanks to Artabazus' very own attempt, he drives his neck into Valeris' spear. Artabazus' helmet is then removed. It is knocked off in the fight, and Valeris slowly slumps from his horse. Artabazus rode back to the Roman lines. The men could see great gushes of blood pouring down from his helmet where the spear had struck. Valeris may have lost the duel, but he had made certain that he would not go alone. Artabazus had given Valeris an opening, and the dying Valeris had taken it, and cut Artabazus' artery. Both armies charged, the scream of soldiers and the clashing of shields echoing off the surrounding rocks and hills. The Romans could permanently put down the Goths here and now. The deciding battle that would set the stage for rulership of all of Italy, and they were just needing to break the Gothic line here and now of 5,000 men. In the distance, however, if one listened carefully, the thundering song of cavalry could be heard echoing across the very same plains. The fighting was now moving towards a tipping point, both sides desperately fighting off the other. Then over the hill came a charging of a cloud of dust. Horses from the rear of the Roman lines. Before the cavalry had hit, the Romans who noticed already began breaking, and the battle order was collapsing. Totila had his victory, and every Roman battle standard had been captured. The remaining survivors, or those not captured, fled to cities or towns that were held by Romans. Totila's victory at Faventia guaranteed the Goths would remain, and worse, gave them hope they did not have that they did not have before, a chance to win back their kingdom. For the Romans, this would be the most dangerous thing of all. And I think we'll stop there for the night. I have to write down when the ending was, though. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. I hope that was a fun one for the evening, because it was just basically one giant fight after the other. Thank you. See, the thing is that we actually get those details from a lot of historians that nobody ever wants to talk about. This is the crap that I wish I learned in school. Grim, no! Your legion has been taken! Anyway, America, if that's your first time hearing, that's basically what I do on Friday nights. Let's see here. But yeah, when I actually get closer to finishing, and here's the thing, like, man, I write everything down. I do everything by hand. If I ever finish this, man, like, I mean, I've put a lot more effort into the second half. Most history you learn in school is very whitewashed and meh. No, man. We're all about the details here, man. We're all about the details. If I can tell you how many, grains of sand they used in sandbags, I'll tell it to you. I think the devil's in the details. Oh, yes, of course. We also have the body painting, but don't worry about it. Oh! So where are you from? I gotta ask. What kind? Are we talking about? Are we talking about Taiwan? Are we talking about China, Japan? If you want to tell me, it's cool. But like Western Roman and European history is Vietnamese. Oh, very good, very good, very good. Well, I see. I'm not really familiar with Vietnamese history. I know a little bit about the Vietnam War, but that's it. And I know the Vietnam War was a very interesting thing.
We hunger for battle.
Who knows? Jeez. That went from an almost fair fight to not a fight at all. But that's okay. We'll move our army right down here, and then we will finish this. I will take Corinium. But I'm not going to make that fight. I'm just going to go ahead and just auto-resolve it because I'm going to be a pansy. Yes. Occupado. And I think that gives me a little bonus, doesn't it? Yes. Ooh. Ooh, that sounds fantastic. That sounds absolutely amazing. That is a really cool name for something. The Anarchy of the 12 Warlords. How could you not care about something like that? That sounds incredibly fun. I mean, like it's like the Romance of the Three Kingdoms in China. That sounds fun too. Like I understand why people are interested into it or interested in it. I does. But the Anarchy of the 12 Warlords sounds fantastic. I mean, hell, you might as well call it the Era of the Seven Samurai. That sounds fantastic. Oh, you know what? You know what we should do for a special? We should actually talk about the first European samurai. That would be really cool. I think that'd be really cool. But, yeah. Well, but I mean, like, if you want to think about it, a lot of things in history, like, so every little bit of history is a footnote. It's only whenever you put them together that they become something bigger and much more integral. You know, if you look at the I don't want to use the word like the fable, but if you want to look at the legend, the myth of Romulus and Remus, it's just a footnote in history. It's nothing major all by itself. It's what happens afterwards. It's the pieces that fall after it. It's the stuff that we know that is to come that takes those little pieces and makes them something bigger. This is why I love history. I absolutely adore it because you get to see these moments that nobody thinks are important, and then you get to actually see why they are important. You know, if you look hard enough or if you look with enough diligence, you'll be able to see stuff that most people can't tell you about. It's funny because I was actually having this discussion with my dad the other day, and we were discussing the different historical stuff that I go over because he wanted to know why the Western Roman Empire, and I literally just said because one day I was talking about Roman emperors and I was playing a game involving the downfall of the Western Roman Empire, and somebody said, "Why don't we do something about that?" And I said, "Yeah, why don't we?" So I started, and I mean, there's the Gothic War is not something that I'm actually more familiar with. Like I have to actually do a lot more research and stuff into it than I do with like classical Roman history. Like the Roman Republic and the Roman Empire at the beginning is far more up my alley. I know way more stuff off the top of my head, but you learn little things that start giving you more and more and more insight. Oh, absolutely, it's not. And if it was, I mean, look at your life. Just look at your life. Look at anybody. I guarantee you, anybody that's in this stream right now, whether they talk or not, I can predict one thing that's true. Their life is not a straight line. Nobody's is. And so it's really easy whenever we start thinking of history in a straight line, and it's not true. There's lots of complicated things that happen. That doesn't mean that makes them okay or good, but there's so much more that goes into it than just simply these people bad, those people good, or this happened and that's it. You know, we tend to want to believe that, oh, absolutely what ifs. But more importantly, like what causes? Why? Like why did no one do anything? You know, like the biggest thing is like when one thing that I was always told in school, and it's a good question, is that how did people in 1930s Germany allow it to get this bad? It's a great question. But we see it happen all the time. It's just that we don't always see it happen on a major nation. I mean, you want to look at some horrible things that happen. I mean, just look in like Africa. There's warlords that go around murdering people almost nonstop. That's what they do. It happens every day. How could the people allow that to happen? They do. I don't know the answer, but they do. But you have to realize that, nothing starts off on the extreme. Like, in the example of, well, how did the Roman Empire fall? It didn't just happen. It took hundreds of years for it to happen, and it really started. Once the empire started, like the actual Roman Empire started, that's when the empire starts collapsing, like straight up. You have about 100 to 200 years where you have the empire thriving, and I want to say, I say the word thriving means that it's riding its coattails. And then everything else is downhill, but because of the way that the old world worked, it took a lot longer for some of that stuff to really hit home. But it's true. It's funny, but it's true. You can trace some of that stuff back. I mean, so not that we're going to get into it, but like the Western Roman Empire, I would argue never died. The idea of the Roman Empire does not die for over like 3,000 to 5,000 years. It's insane how long people hold on to the Roman Empire. In the age of Charlemagne, like the Frankish king, he believed that his version of an empire was the true successor to the Roman Empire. Charlemagne is way after the fall of the West, but he still believes that he is the successor to the Roman Empire. The Holy Roman Empire, what was it? They took over... parts of Germany, and then a little bit, I think, Poland as well, I think. But maybe I'm not really familiar with the Holy Roman Empire and that, like, for its geographic land holdings. But that kind of stuff, like, they believed they were the next successor kingdom to the Western Roman Empire. Like, that's the crazy part about it. They all believe they are the ones that were there. Oh, absolutely. And even beyond that, it was only in the Renaissance that it actually stopped, like, around the Renaissance, and they actually stopped caring so much because they had forgotten everything. And by the way, by the time that, like, in the time that I'm discussing in our history, Latin is becoming less and less used. And it's one of the reasons why the Dark Ages were the Dark Ages. People forgot how to speak Latin, and they forgot how to read Latin. What we end up seeing is what we see now, where we have lots of Latin-based languages, but they're not speaking Latin anymore. Oh, I guess I'm going to war with the Saxons now. Well, that didn't help, no. But let's see, the burning of Alexandria. Who was that? Is that the Ottomans? I can't remember anymore. Who burned the library at Alexandria? I want to say it was the Muslim empires, but I can't remember. Or is that Constantinople? I know someone eventually burns that. The Turks? Is it the Turks? Yeah, that part of history, whenever I learned that, is like, no. But I do know there was, I think it was the Turks, but it was also the Muslims. And I think because I remember the Muslims were this is a story that I forget where I read it, but the story was this, and give me a second, I have to kind of visualize it real fast to just kind of remember it. Is it a Muslim general, I think, and I may have to look this up just to verify it. A Muslim general writes back to the Sultan or whoever, saying what should he do with the Library of Alexandria, and the response was, if it is not in the Quran, it is forbidden and therefore should be destroyed. If it is in the Quran, then it is redundant and is not needed, and so they burned the library down. I think that's either the apocryphal story or it is the story. I can't remember. I have to go looking for it. I think that's what it was. I think that's what the story was. All right. Peace. No, we're not piecing out with Britain. Britain will be mine, more so than it was before. And we're going way past Hadrian's Wall. Pretty much. Well, that was the point. Is that basically, like, if it's in our holy text by the prophet, then it's redundant. Get rid of it. If it isn't there, it's not supposed to be there, and it's haram. I mean, basically the point. Yeah, that is a flowery way of saying burn it down. Let's definitely fight that battle. Yeah, absolutely. And it was, well, very few things survive. But more importantly, with the very many plunders of, or let's say pillages of Rome, by the time that you're done, like right now, in the time of history that we're talking about, Rome is essentially a shadow of what it was. It is quite literally a city in decay. It is the city shining on the hill. The beautiful Roman city that we all like think of Roman Empire, that's gone. Like the walls are falling apart. The Roman architecture, the stuff that Romans were known for, like even I think even what was it called, the show the Last Kingdom discusses like the Roman walls. Roman walls are built to last. They don't just fall apart. Roman walls in the city of Rome were falling apart. That's how bad it was. That's unheard of. It was both, and it became an idea because it was so normal for more than like almost 1,000 years. And that's the thing, is that the Western Roman Empire lasted less than 1,000 years. It lasts about 800 years. The Eastern Roman Empire, however, lasts about 1,000 or more, depending upon how you want to calculate it. But yeah, you're right. After Rome falls, the idea of the empire is far more powerful than the empire itself, and it's because of the as much as people don't like it, Rome had the culture, it had the power, and it was the paramount or the pinnacle of power. If when a Roman senator or patrician said something, it might as well be law for anybody that's not a Roman. It was quite literally the biggest outgroup or biggest in-group versus out-group that had ever existed. And you were either a subject to it or you were a beneficiary of it. And everywhere that Rome went, aside from Germany, which, by the way, is a section I would love to, eventually when we do it, I would love to actually do a really good series on Arminius. I would absolutely love to go into detail on the tale of Arminius. About how he basically single-handedly prevented Rome from invading Germany, or Germania at the time, however you want to look at it. And actually, his actions alone, which, by the way, I'm surprised they don't teach about him in German schools. I forget who was telling. God dang it, I can't remember who was telling me. They didn't even know who Arminius was, or that they didn't know much about him. I was like, he's the reason y'all don't have a Latin-based language, quite literally. He's the reason that Rome never bothers to invade. And as a matter of fact, the entire German front might as well have just been a giant barracks for trying to invade Germany. But Arminius sets up the German, I guess, armies in a way that basically allows them to repel the Romans indefinitely. They never breach Germany, ever. Oh, there's border skirmishes. Maybe they'll gain a couple miles here and there, and then they'll lose a couple miles here and there. But like nothing compared to what they did to everywhere else. It's insane. Now, don't get me wrong. Eventually, Rome does affect Germany, but not in the same way that it affected everybody else. Strangely enough, it seems like they didn't need to, but whatever. Oh, crap. Horsey boys. Go, horsey boys, go! But yeah, everybody looks at Rome and sees, like, oh, this is what, like, true culture is. And I don't get me wrong, I like it. I enjoy Roman history. I like Roman history. I love, I guess, the Roman aesthetic. The very marble, that, I guess, what do you mean, that Greek perfectionism, but done in Roman manner. I like that. But I'm not dumb enough to believe that they were the strongest empire, or that they are the pinnacle of what we should be hoping for. Because holy crap, I would hate living under Roman rule. Most of us wouldn't survive. Quite literally, most of us wouldn't survive. And these guys just aren't doing anything. Okay. Then I'm going to move my archer boys down here. Yep, pretty much. Well, the Roman emperors, Well, that's most kingdoms. Like if you look at the Mongol kingdoms, that's actually not too far from what that was. Is it for under Genghis, and then his Kublai Khan. That was his grandson. Who was his son? Who was Genghis Khan's son? I can't remember. But yeah, that's exactly right. They basically, their empire was relatively short-lived, but most empires on that scale collapsed. Okay, so Ogadi or Ogadai. I blew gabba-dee dabba-die. Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's the American in me. I have to make fun of things. The Mongol Empire is not something that I'm familiar with, so I'm truly not familiar with the Mongol Empire. All I know is that when I've looked it up, I go, it's an interesting thing. Definitely, their form of fighting was absolutely influenced by the Persians. Either that or it was vice versa. I can't remember which. I think the Persians eventually borrow from them, and then they borrow from the Persians. I know the Eastern Roman Empire definitely borrowed from the Persians. If you look at the Eastern versus the Western Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire never learned its lesson about horses. The Eastern Roman Empire, they definitely did, but we're not going to get into that. But most empires don't last long, and that's because once you start consolidating power, you start losing power. And that's one of those things that nobody wants to ever talk about. Because if you look at the power of the Roman Republic, for as long as the Republic still stands, they are gaining power. The moment the Republic is destroyed, they start losing it. Now, that doesn't mean that they start losing it immediately. But after, in the Roman Empire, Augustus was the height of the empire. You have Augustus, then my favorite emperor, Tiberius, and Caligula. Then you have Claudius, and then Nero. These are the only emperors that preside over a fully functioning empire. And that's less than 200 years. That's it. Now, that doesn't mean that there's never any good times, but the people begin to suffer greatly under these people. Not that they didn't suffer before, but they suffer a lot more than they did before. And then eventually you start getting into the emperors that don't last very long. You get like 4 or 5 years. And then you have infighting, and then you have the Praetorians choosing who's going to live and who's going to die. You've got the Praetorians choosing which side or who's going to become emperor based on how much money they're going to give. And then you start seeing the breakdown of social order. And that's what starts killing the empire. The breakdown of the social order. The lack of faith in the culture and the commerce and all that fun stuff. And for a while, the empire is so strong and so wealthy, they can afford to bleed it. But eventually, you start running into problems. For as long as there's no enemy that can actually stand up against them, this isn't a problem. The moment they start entering into the realms of barbarians, that's whenever you see the crisis of the 3rd century hit, where you have a financial crisis, you have a military crisis, you have a secession crisis, and then you have a war with Persia, where the Emperor Valerius gets captured by the Persians, and I think they eventually kill him, although I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. And then you have the rise of another one of my favorite emperors, Aurelian. Lucius Aurelius. Sol Invictus, brothers. Sol Invictus. Yeah, I love Roman history. Roman history is like a great example of what you never do with a nation. Like, for as long as you have a republic, that's great. Don't let it turn into an empire, because once it turns into an empire, that's it, you're done. Like, republics will survive a little bit, but as soon as they turn into an actual empire, and I don't mean like when they start expanding, I mean once they turn into an imperial authoritarian dictatorship, you're done. That's it. Because the structure of your entire nation cannot handle it. It's been built on the backbone of something else. It won't work. That's why I love Roman history. It's a great teacher. And even most of the Palpatine's different though. Oh, Napoleon. See, Napoleon gets a bad rap. I don't know much. I wouldn't say. I would take it back. The things that I hear about Napoleon are like they get a bad rap, or he gets a bad rap, but that's different. Man, did I lose a general again? Jeez. Ooh, hold on. What is this? One of your subs. Oh, they're both 43. That's fine. But yeah, most empires, say most, pretty much every empire does not survive once they become an empire. Now, if they start off as an empire, they have a better chance, but most empires don't survive the conversion to empire. Jeez, I've just been bleeding troops out here. Okay, I'm out of here. Time to peace out over here. Maybe. The only problem with Napoleon that I can imagine is the fact that Napoleon is, Napoleon is a dictator. That's all I know. Maybe. I genuinely would need to brush up on my Napoleonic history. Most French history I find kind of boring. I hate to say it that way, but I just don't find most of it very interesting. Not because there's nothing interesting that ever happens. Like the Joan of Arc, I think, is an interesting character and a very interesting character in history because there's lots of stuff that happens to her and around her that are very hard to explain. Now, granted, it is the Dark Ages. It is a time of great upheaval. Oh my gosh. But it's history that is very hard to once you look at it, it's hard to describe what it is. See, I don't think France is ever whole. At least they have France has a well, you know, let's not get into French history. It's yeah, let's not get into French history. But anyway, so it's interesting. Let's put it that way. It's an interesting thing, but I tend to want to avoid digging too far into it because there's lots of stuff in there that I just don't care about. France's heyday was very short-lived, and it was only really in the age of Charlemagne that I would consider. Doesn't mean that France never did anything else cool or anything else right, but France is their time on the world stage is, in my opinion, relegated very quickly and just pushed to the sidelines, as it should have been. I don't think that was a bad thing. I think that the French model of everything is really just absolutely cancerous. Just, hey, if something exists, the government must be involved. It's like, no. I mean, that being said, I guess that's the method that's winning right now, but whatever. All right, let's see if we can get. So where are the Huns? The Huns have effed off even further away from me, so I guess I'm not actually going to have to deal with them. I've been playing relatively conservatively recently because I have no idea where they're coming. So I guess I wonder where we. Hold on, let's see. I need a triumphal arch. What's this? By 450. What's the date? 424. So I got 30 years. Yeah, I actually would like to learn more about China, though. Well, they might not be wrong, but I don't think so. Wait a minute. They're going to take Germania back? How? Like, that was never even a part of the Roman Empire. Whatever, fine. One settlement, 30 provinces, reaches volume of wealth from all buildings. 100,000. That's a lot of money. I have a cultural victory almost. I've almost got a cultural victory. Let's see, military victory. I am pretty darn close to a cultural military victory. You'll thank me in 800 years. I like the way you think. Let's see here. Food market. And we'll just send a spy up north. So actually, let's send my armies up north too.
At your service.
More spies. Obviously, I mean, basically, my eastern border is essentially fine. There's not; these guys aren't going to do jack. They have one settlement, and everything else around them is raised or has a relatively high defensive rating. So they're not going to do anything. Let's see. Oh, I have an upgrade. It always astounds me how little I actually get done when I play this game. Do I have the money? Oh, wow, I've got 14. Okay, I've got lots of money for that. All right. Let's assign some governors. So I actually do have some mods installed, mostly to allow me to have more than just 6 governors, because the idea of only having 6 governors is really stupid. Come here. Maximinus Barbatus. Well, if I'm playing Rome 2, I actually go a lot more into making settlements do specific things, but because I'm not, I'm just like, all right, whatever, who cares? Venetia. Like the province of Venetia? I don't know. That's right here. See, that's kind of over here, but I have my recruitment. So when I played Rome 2, my recruitment center is Mediolanum, so Liguria. And then over here is, like right here, where they have the settlements right here. I'll usually use that as a recruitment center too, as like a launch pad into the east. And this is my launch pad into the north. See, I can do that. Because this is usually where I'm recruiting stuff. But I've also got some recruitment stuff here too, so... But the thing is, I don't want to just jam everything into one area, because then I gotta deal with it all at once. And I think I've got... I think I've had it all spread out. I think this is what? This is a blacksmith, and then I've got an armor smith over here. I could do both. I could do all of them at once, I guess. I got cavalry and skirmisher. I mean, Venetia's just right here. It's like this little section right here. I'm not sure I'm following. Because you have Dalmatia, Venetia, Italia, and whatever this is, Magna Graecia. Or Greekia. Then you have Macedonia. Or, as the proper way to say it is, Macedonia. Alright, Franks, can we trade? Now, can you be puppets too? No? Okay, fine. Fine. Give me money. Ooh, Geats. You want to trade? Pagan to pagan? Yeah, see, they're wanting to trade because they realize how effed they are if they piss me off. I am not familiar with that. Which slaughter and at which century? That's the first question. Alright, let's move these guys up. Ah. Maybe what we can do is we can play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'll play it on easy mode, because that game is absolutely horrible to play in any other way. And we'll do it just for fun. Do I want to do a blacksmith here? Can demolish that. No, let's keep that. See, I wouldn't mind actually adding something here that would allow me to do more. Oh, that's different. Yeah, so Venice is right here. Around here is usually where it is. At least in the games. Where it is specific, you know, Ravenna on this map is actually more, really, it's more up here. But, like, they kind of threw it down here. So this isn't an actual, like, perfect map. I know Attila burns this city to the ground. Let's see here. Let's make these people happier by reducing this immigration. So yeah, let's reduce that immigration. Africa, let's reduce that immigration. Well, he did once he kind of got what he wanted. Kind of calmed down then. Yeah, well, I think Venice, the city was already existing at that point, but they weren't calling it Venice. Like one of the things that I've had to do when I've been reading and researching for the Gothic War, I have to constantly flip back and forth between the names of cities because what they called them back in 500 versus what we call them today are not the same thing. Like Hadrian's tomb is not called Hadrian's tomb. It's called like the Castel de Sant'Angelo, or whatever that is, or I probably butchered the pronunciation. So any Italians, please forgive me. I'm not Italian, and it's called Hadrian's tomb. So get bent. Hadrian's super collider. The Veneti. Yes, we'll play Rome Total War Classic. Fokker is actually lovingly gifted it to me a long time ago, and I've been wanting to play it, but I want to finish the Gothic War. And sadly, I've got like a notebook filled of stuff that we have to go over. So once I find a good, like once we get to the part where the Byzantines actually either retake it completely, or just, I don't know, maybe we should go a little bit further and go into the collapse of the Byzantine Empire in the West. I don't know. It depends. I haven't decided yet. Probably whenever we're done with Byzantine reconquest, because in my opinion, the Western Roman Empire ceases to exist once the Byzantines actually take over again. Or say take over again. Once the Eastern Romans take over and become the Byzantine Empire, I think that the Western Roman Empire, that's when it dies. Pontus. I can go for as long as my drink allows. No, no, no! So something tells me that 2 soldiers will not be able to withstand all that, so I'm just going to go ahead and just assume I'm going to lose that. Let me guess. That was one of my armies, wasn't it? Did he turn traitor? No, he's just Britain. Ah, the Romano-Britons. I see. There's like a whole part of history that I don't really know much about, which is like what happens to the... Oh, god dang it. I had another army turn on me. Are you freaking kidding me? Oof. Ooh, I'm coming for you, bud. I'm coming for you. And not in a good way. No, he's just the Brits. See, what's interesting to me is that the British were the most, I guess, to my knowledge, they were the most recent Roman colony. And yet, like, they didn't really have a chance to really Romanize anything in the north. So, like, Gaul, Hispania, there are Roman ruins, but they never really do anything up there. They never have a chance. Which is always interesting to me. So they never actually Romanized anybody. But the Roman Britons, like, there were Romans left in England whenever they actually left. Jeez, I can't remember the guy's name who actually led the charge outside of it. But it was whenever there was 1,000 different emperors coming up in the Western Roman Empire. And I can't remember his name because there's just so many. I think it's like no, I can't even remember. Now the thing is that I know that my emperor had an army out there, so if my emperor turned traitor, that'd be really weird. It's like, I'm turning against my own country. It's like, but you own the country. Yeah, screw it. It's my new empire. Your new empire. Sorry. Oh, prequel trilogy. You were so much better than people made you out to be. Let's fast forward a little bit here. Whee! But yeah, when we get to the crisis of the 3rd century, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with that one. I mean, like 30 years from now when I get there. Where are the archers? Oh, there they are. Get them. Get them, boys. Get them. Get them. But yeah, American history, Roman history, and I always find little tidbits in history that I find interesting. So one of the things I thought about doing is I was contemplating skipping some time periods after we're done with the Gothic War and just discuss the Order of Solomon, which we all lovingly know as the Crusader states. But I don't know, I haven't decided on it yet because the Order of Solomon's quite fascinating. It's just that it just sounds super ominous when you call it the Order of Solomon. Sounds like, what the is that? It's like some secret Illuminati crap, and I'll be like, yes. And then I'll be like, but not really. But yes. But not really. Get him. Horsey boys, attack! Yes. Well, so right now what I'm doing is, as I said, I'm going into the Western Roman Empire in Attila. Ironically, strangely, Attila's not coming to kick my butt, which is kind of the thing that I was waiting for. And whatever game I play, if it's historical, I would definitely go into more. I'd go into more detail. But as of right now, like one of the things that I wanted to do next was focus on the Boshin War. I've thought about doing that, but the thing of the Boshin War is I need to find a historian that actually gives detailed accounts. Sorry, the Boshin War is the Japanese Civil War between the shogun and the emperor during the turn of, I guess, what you would call the Japanese Industrial Revolution. I guess you might call it that. I mean, I guess that's an accurate way of describing it. Maybe there's a better way, but that's what I would probably see it as. It's the westernization of the Japanese islands. Oh yeah, major, yeah. Well, that might work. I mean, I'm speaking in, but nobody knows what the hell that is. But nobody knows what that is. Whereas if I say the Industrial Revolution, most people in the West know what the heck is going on. So it's like if I was like, oh, it's the Industrial Revolution for Japan. Oh yeah, cool. You know. Like if I discuss the difference of the Murata rifle versus like the standard flintlock rifle, I mean they would just like, I don't know what you're talking about. No. If I looked like Tom Cruise, I promise you I would not be doing what I'm doing now. I would be going to Tom Cruise telling him, "Hey, I'll be your stunt double. Just pay me like half of what you make." Also, maybe you should maybe you shouldn't stand too close to me because I'm going to tower over you like a freaking god. Oh, man. I'll be like, hey, look, I'll even go to your weird church meetings with the, but he would after he saw my glorious face. It would just basically be his face. I'll even go to whatever his Scientology thing is. I won't believe it, but I'll even go to a Scientology thing if it means getting some of that moolah. It's insane how, like, that man is insane as he is, but, whatever. I mean, it's crazy how short that man is. Yeah, once you, well, you know, it's that story. Was it that story? It's that song, "Hotel California." You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. He's a shorty, bruh. If you're below 5'6", you're shorty. It's like, get on my level. If you're not 6'1", 6'2", get out of here. I'm kidding. I'm just teasing. Just teasing. He's 5'6". That's a shorty boy. Sorry. I'm just teasing now. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just teasing. See, you think that. You think that. You think you could, but you can't. You could toss your monitor, but you can't toss me. Sorry, it's getting late, and my drink may or may not be having a slight effect on me. Look, only... What, are you saying you use the filthy metric system? No. See, no. See, we in the real world, we use feet because that's how we walk. And if we're going to be measuring something that we walk on, we use our feet like real people. Oh, it's like that archer. It's like, what? He thinks he's people. Hey, there's this thing that I walk on. We should call it feet. No. Let's call it the meter. What the hell's a meter? It's this thing I made up. What's it like? It's like 3 of what you have. What the hell's wrong with you? Oh. Yes. Yes. Look, the only thing that I know is it's roughly three-ish feet per meter. Like, I think it's what, 3 1/4. Is it 3 1/4? I think it's 3 1/4. See, the crazy part is the average American wouldn't know half the crap that we've been talking about tonight. If I mentioned the Boshin War or anything Roman or like feet to inches, no. Or feet to meters, no. They wouldn't know. If you're measuring your dick in meters, like, you're doing it wrong. Wavering loyalty. I just gave you a freaking governorship, and you're like, oh, I don't know about this. How? You are married to the emperor's daughter, and you are... I'm sorry. How old are you? 29? And you don't have kids yet? I should just assassinate you. Alright, so you got 2 sons and a daughter. Jeez. It's right ready for orders. Let's move you gentlemen over here. Actually, let's move this guy. Who is this filthy effing traitor down here? Flavius Varys. Oh my gosh, this army's about to die. Okay, stop running so I can kill you. Jeez.
as the angels.
All right.
March until your feet bleed.
That's right. March until your feet bleed. That's a good. It's actually not a bad idea. It's a good, I guess, not really prophecy, but good. What is it called? Life lessons. So I don't want you here. Actually, I want you somewhere else. I need Mr. Flavius Honorius. I need him back in Italy, or not Italy. I need him back in Europe. Specifically, I'd like him going and conquering stuff over here. Yeah, I would like to. So my next thing is I have to decide whether I'm going to do the rise of the Roman kingdoms and the Roman Republic, followed by the Empire, which would that alone is probably going to take me. I don't know, at the rate that I'm going with just the Gothic War and the Western Roman Empire, probably 20 years from now I'll be able to finish that, or if I want to do something else. But you may have a choice and a say in the matter if you go onto my Discord and tell me what you want. I will definitely eventually have a poll on it, and the people that vote on it get to choose. Because I do not want to do things that my people don't want to watch, or if they want, because again, I like Roman history, but not everybody wants to deal with Roman history,
We take this settlement.
or not all the time anyway. But then we don't get to learn the really cool stuff, like when the barbarians first invade Rome. That's always fun. Like whenever, what was his name? I can't remember his name. I can't remember the general's name. God dang it.
Ready for battle.
What was his name? Hey, whenever when the Roman or the barbarians actually breached the gates of Rome for the first time, like within the first couple decades that Rome exists, and they're kind of like, oh, we made it in. That was weird. And then basically the barbarians sit down and say, well, how much will you give us for your nation back, essentially? And they're like, well, we want this much gold and this much gold. And then the Roman general walks in and throws his sword on the scales. And he's like, I'll offer you my sword. And then he kills all of them. I was like, that is how you deal with your opponents. It's like, I'll negotiate with you to give your stuff back. It's like, I'm going to just murder you all. It's like, okay. That is the proper Roman method for dealing with that. Then there's the, Cincinnatus? Cincinnatus, the Roman farmer who basically leaves his farm, goes and fights, then comes back. And he's given dictatorial powers, and then he puts them down and goes back to being a farmer. But I guess not Diocletian. Jeez, it's getting too late because now I'm mixing up my Roman emperors. It's not Diocletian. Yep, I can't. It's gone. The guy who's the last emperor of the entire empire, of the unified empire. Whenever he basically somebody's like, hey, we need your help. And he's like, okay, look, if you saw my cabbages, you would understand why I can't come back. It's like, if only you understood my cabbages, man. And everybody else is like, Diocletian, thank you. I'm sitting there. Is it Diocletian? No, Diocletian was earlier. It's somebody else. Was Diocletian that late? Man, it's too long. Hold on. It's all starting to blur together. Unfortunately, it's getting late for me, and my drink is maybe messing with me a little bit. Let's see here.
Only the greatest dare speak of peace to their enemies. Only the weak seek the death of all.
No, it was Theodosius. That's what it's Theodosius, I think. Theodosius? I can't remember. I was thinking of Theodosius, but that was incorrect too. Now I gotta look it up because it's bugging me. Yep, Diocletian, you're right. My bad. I was thinking of Theodosius. See, this is what happens when I drink a little bit too much and I'm playing games, and it gets too late. I will not accept a peace treaty unless you are my puppet state. I'll trade with you, though. Look, you get 366 bucks per turn, and you become my puppet state. Come on. Right. But yeah, then the Diocletian is the last one. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But yeah, when we get into the crisis of the 3rd century, like 30 years from now, when I eventually get to it, it's going to be a lot of fun, because I plan to really take Lucius Aurelius has a lot of really cool stuff going on. And I really don't know much about Sol Invictus, and I would like to learn some more anyway, so it's a good excuse to do that. And for anyone who doesn't know, Sol Invictus is the late stage Roman Empire sun god. I have no idea where he comes from. I have no idea why he exists outside of Aurelius. But Aurelius is the Roman emperor who wears the golden mask. And I think it's the mask of Sol Invictus. And ironically, as much as I like Aurelius, I really don't know much about him. You know, why am I? Everybody's happy. Why are we experiencing civil war? We got good public order. I've got pretty decent, loyalty. So why am I experiencing public order problems and rebellions? But yeah, the guy who Diocletian is pretty funny. The problem with Diocletian is that he has a really big problem with lots of religious groups inside the empire and starts murdering them. Continues to murder them, really. It's not even starts, it continues. Well, the only way to do that is to get him to be a general and actually fight, and he was stuck in Africa, so I kicked him out, and now I'm waiting to get him back. Yeah, that's the thing. So that's actually really funny that you say that, because like he really doesn't fight the Roman Empire when it's ready. He never fights the Roman Empire when it's ready. It's great. So I always find it funny that like people think that Attila is like this really amazing smart leader, and I'm not saying he's not smart, but he just also was at the right place at the right time. That's it. I'm sure that he was horrendously bloodthirsty. Oh my god, I've just done something really stupid.
The enemy has been sighted. Our hidden units have been discovered.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to move my cavalry up here now. Oh, it's just scouts. Okay, that's fine. Did you say our odds are hopeless? We're not hopeless. The odds of them winning here are almost non-existent. See, I actually did read Sun Tzu in middle school. I was fascinated by it. I knew of it, and I remember, I will never forget when I was reading, because I remember somebody, a baby myth was like, what's a concubine? Because there's a story in there, because it was the collected works, it was the translation of Sun Tzu, followed by like a bunch of stories that essentially like involve Sun Tzu by myth. And one of them was whenever he basically there was some rule that he implemented, and it was that he asked the Chinese emperor to line up all of his concubines or whatever, and he's like, there's 1,000 of them all in the same room, and he armed them with like military weapons, and he gave them orders, and the concubines laughed at him. And so under the Chinese law is the fact that whenever they're under arms, like, they are soldiers. If you are serving in the emperor's army, you are treated as a soldier, and you are subject to the punishment of like the general, with or without the emperor's permission. It's some weird thing like that. So he actually put to death 1,000 of the emperor's concubines, and the emperor could do nothing. And the point was that, you know, anybody is a part of the army. And so it's like, if that's the case, then everyone needs to be disciplined or something like that. It's really weird. I remember reading about that, but it's a long time ago. It's been so long ago, but I remember going, "What's a concubine?" Is it the concubines or the whores? I can't remember. It's a long time ago. Am I misremembering the story? Because I only read it the one time, and it may have been blurred. Yeah, if I'm misremembering the story, please tell me, because if I genuinely maybe misremembering it or something. I like how none of them are going after my spear boys. But these are the Emperor's concubines. They're the good ones. Basically, I bet his wife was happy. And it's like, those stupid bees are finally gone. Now I can talk to him all day. No, you don't. Look, if you're an emperor, maybe that works out for you. But let's be real for 5 minutes. If you had to deal with that many women constantly nagging you for attention, you'd drive yourself. No wonder you're constantly trying to kill somebody. Yeah, so it's I have the book somewhere. I have the works of the Art of War by Sun Tzu, and then in the back of it is a bunch of like little short stories of allegedly the I guess exploits of Sun Tzu or stories of, I should say. And that was one of them. And I was sitting there as a kid, like, what's a concubine? And like my dad was like, oh my god, why do I have to tell you this? And I was like, is it like mommy? And he's like, no. I was like, what? I don't understand. Okay, I'm actually making myself sound a lot younger than I really was, but I was like, I don't know what that word is. What is this word? I feel bad for my dad because like I was always interested in like the weirdest stuff. He's like, hey, look, here's Star Trek, and I go, Star Wars is pretty cool. He's like, oh, okay. It's like, hey, look, here's this pirate, and it's like, Buccaneers are pretty cool. Hey, look, here's this train. I like airplanes. God dang it. Yeah, like mommy with extra steps. Oh man, jeez. This stream is taking a very dark turn, and I approve. Oh man. What does that mean? It means we get fed tonight, honey. Oh my god, I'm such a horrible person. I'm gonna stop talking for like 30 seconds. I like how my medium, was it light infantry? Yeah, medium melee infantry is doing way more stuff. Well, if I had an empire, you would all get concubines. Let's put it that way. I'm not sure that they'd be the ones you want, but you'd get some. I like how these stalls are so ramshackled, they just run into them and they fall apart. It's like Aladdin. Yeah, maybe eventually what we'll do is we'll even get into like a... No, you were born at roughly the right time. Good lord, you would not want to be around whenever the idea of a kingdom. Here's the thing. Here's the funny fact that we don't think about. In World War I, kingdoms and monarchies across Europe still existed. Isn't that crazy? Like, in reality, like, monarchies, kingdoms, the things where you would actually find concubines, like on a real like a real way, they existed in like the early 1900s. That's crazy to me. We were fighting wars with rifles and machine guns and tanks, and kingdoms still existed. I mean, it drives me nuts that even more that, you know, Americans went to go fight for, you know, kings, but, you know, not going to talk about that right now. We could do that whenever I eventually get to World War One when I'm 90 years old and be like, well, back in my day, we didn't have all these fancy technology things. I mean, you kids with your TikToks and your it's like, granddad, TikTok has been gone since like the mid 2030s. Actually, no. I know someone who was actually in Japan whenever the bombs fell. And Hirohito, he had to actually go on the radio and tell people he's not a god. that was funny. Like, that actually blew the minds of his citizens, apparently. Like, the idea that he was not a god. Sir, you can have anything you want. If you are a member of the ruling party in my empire, you may have whatever your little heart desires, and I will assist you in getting it. Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, like, if you've lived your entire life believing that somebody is something else, and then you realize that they're not, and that person actually just comes out and tells you, like, for everybody else that's common freaking sense, but for some of those people that was earth shattering. I mean, that was like their entire world kind of collapsed. I mean, well, it also blew up, but that's a different story. Like, you got to think about that. Like, I mean, it's not just that, like, think of it. We have this existing today in North Korea. Like, North Korea is a dictatorship. They believe that man is a god. Now, not everybody believes that. I mean, I would even, well, yeah, but it's like learning Santa was real, but everyone told you, including Santa on the radio and on newsletters and everywhere else that you went, that he was real. You could hear his voice. You could see his face. And that was just the way things were. I mean, that's a very... I hate to use the word traumatizing, but that's a pretty traumatizing thing to have to go through, to, like, just be told that, like, oh, no, I'm just a person. I'm not actually a god. Like, that's a pretty big deal. Like, that's a very big deal.
I am yours to command. The devil makes way for idle hands.
I guess this guy's gonna get all the wins here. So let's see. You're the one who's actually going to turn on me, from what it looks like. Let's kick you out. Put a Norris in your place.
Besieging the settlement.
But it's okay, man. Not everybody does get to heal from that stuff.
The settlement.
Oh my gosh, why are there so many of them? Oh, he's got boaties. Let's do it. So be aggressive. Alright, so after this turn, we are going to call it a night. It is way too late for me, and I still got to get up early tomorrow. Also, not really tomorrow. I got to get up early today. What is this? What is this? Sacred Well. Ew, get rid of paganism. Filthy pagans. Filthy, disgusting, wretched pagans. Let's see, Camulodonum. Okay. See, this guy, I know that Lendinium's not falling with these guys. Well, I do unfortunately have to get up early. I have to at least pretend to mow my yard. No, he's going to stay there for now. So, I want to thank everybody for watching, and I also want to thank everybody who's followed me up until now. Y'all have been fantastic. I want to thank everybody who's helped me get this far and helping me become an affiliate. This is a great week for me for on Twitch, and I'm very, very excited to see where we go from here. I only hope that it's only ways up, and I expect every single one of you to help me keep my head out of my own ass. You know, don't want to let me get too excited. So tomorrow, Fokker, Ironham, and myself, we will be playing Aliens Fireteam Elite. Hopefully, I will see you all there. It's going to be a lot. Thank you, Fokker. If you would be so kind, please join the Discord down below. If you feel so inclined, you can always give us a follow, or if you're feeling very generous, you can always subscribe too now. Yay! Maybe in the future if we really want to. So the next goal that I'd like to do is if I'm going to make money off this little venture, one of the things I want to do is I want to build my own chicken coop and get some chickens. And then just basically start a live stream of 24/7 chickening. That's all it is. Just watching chickens. And then maybe name them. I don't know. But that is my overall goal for if I'm actually making money off this, I might as well do that. Oh, and lots of concubines, of course. Chickens and concubines. So I hope to all see you again tomorrow, and I hope you all have a wonderful night, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day.